Hey, Porter here with Fisher. It is time for It Came from GenX. Big news stories close to home. We got a big chemical spill in East Palestine, Ohio. Also in sports and music, we're going to talk about the Super Bowl. Everything from the opening songs to the game itself, controversial calls, the halftime show with Rihanna, our thoughts on that, as well as the ending of the Super Bowl. Like to hear what you think. And, we're also going to talk about some of the things that were said by the great, crazy Terry Bradshaw. So, hey, we got some celebrity deaths. Burt Bacharach, gone. His greatness. We're going to cover that story. Man, Rogaine, minoxidil, came out 1991. Can you believe that? Are you losing your hair right now? We got some great stuff to talk about. Here we go.
This is an It Came from GenX video.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? This is Keith Porter with Brian Fisher. It's time for It Came from GenX.
Excellent.
It is episode 99, Fish. The countdown to 100 episodes.
Yes, indeed.
We are very excited about that here. We're going to do something special. Most likely be together. We hope to hear from some people, maybe even hear from our producer, our podcast producer, Junior, Michael Skinner Jr., and who knows who else. So we're going to have a party. We're going to do something, have a lot of fun. But right now, we have one episode before that to take care of. It is a big day on our show as far as our new subjects are concerned. We are recording this on February 13th, 1 day removed from the Super Bowl. So lots of stuff to talk about here. If you notice, there's two of us, and our colleague, good friend, Michael Skinner, will not be here tonight. Just a little bit under the weather. Our prayers are with him. But you're going to probably have to hit him over the head with a sledgehammer to make him miss that 100th episode. So we look forward to having him back. What's happening, Fish?
Hey, how are you, brother? Yeah, Skinner said he tried some type of sports betting app that, he had to put some type of personal collateral down or something like that. So, yeah, we hope that he's okay. So,
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you always get me in trouble with Skinner.
No, but 99 episodes, that's a lot, man. So, we've done this obviously a lot longer than that, as you know, with going back to the football show, but 100 with this particular podcast. Yeah, we'll give you more details. Just watch for us out on our social media. We'll probably do like a Facebook Live or something like that, depending upon if we can. Hopefully, I'll be in the same room, which has been a while. Since I think last summer, I think we did that. But yeah, so all is well. Enjoyed the weekend. Enjoyed the game. Good stuff. So, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Had a great week last week. Rehearsed with both bands. New singer and Rock Generations, just fantastic. Our rehearsal was like playing a concert. It was unbelievable. I mean, the sound system that we're playing on is just as good as any place you might play. And I mean, my drum riser was just rocking. It was just amazing. I didn't get home till 11:30 that night. It was crazy. So I'm just really excited about that. So again, welcome to Pat Moran. And the weekend was restful. I got to work out. Other than that, just took it easy because it was a busy week last week. I'm preparing for a show with Mixed Nuts, as you know, coming up here.
Yep.
That was a lot of drumming last week, but doing good, brother. Doing really good. And, you made a good point about, even though we are excited about the 100th episode, that's pertaining to this show. We've done way more shows that when you look at the beginning from the reality football, and you have what I think in the 120s with Convincing Idiots.
We're up to 128 as of last week.
That's pretty remarkable. I think that's crazy. You got a lot of shows under your belt, a lot of experience. It shows in the work that you do for this show. Just excellent work. You've just grown and ran with it, and we couldn't be prouder. So, Super
Thanks, but
Bowl.
one of these days might even be entertaining.
Hey, that's the next step.
Maybe episode 500 would be.
Yeah.
You know what? Those guys are mildly entertaining.
We're getting there. Yeah. We'll get there. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you tell them where they can find the show?
All right. Well, you might be listening to us on demand where we listen to podcasts. So we're on all major podcast platforms out there: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Overcast, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, you name it, we're probably on it. So just look for the It Came From GenX podcast. Give us a follow or subscribe. And we publish new episodes every week. And if you're following us or you're subscribing for free, they'll pop into your podcast feed free of charge. Hey, it's free. Hey. You might be watching us on the Boss Code Media TV network. You can find them on your smart television or portable device. Our partner does the reason. Extremely talented rap artist locally here in the Northeast Ohio area. Has his own network there. We have our very own channel, the It Came From GenX channel. So find, download, subscribe, and we're on there with plenty of other creative content. You might be watching us also on our YouTube channel at It Came From GenX. Find us there. Give us a free subscribe there too. Keep up with us on our social media. All show information can be found in two main places. Our Linktree page is simply Google Linktree. It Came From GenX. It's simply a page with links to our social media, links to where you can listen to us, etc. Easy enough. And our website, itcamefromgenx.wordpress.com. All show information is there too. Ways to sponsor the show. Links to where you can listen to us, links to new episodes, links to videos. Everything's there on the website. Go check us out there. And also a link to our merch store. Our podcast merch store is on our website and our Linktree as well. A lot of cool merch with very good quality and our cool logo designed by my beautiful daughter, Peyton. You can see the logo hanging behind Keith there as we speak right now if you're watching us on video. If you do anything at all, just tell a friend, share, subscribe, rate, review on podcasts, especially Apple Podcasts, helps others find the show. It means more than you know, and we appreciate your support out there. Thank you, sir.
Man, thank you, Fish. Now, as you can see, I'm wearing some red today, some serious red today, throwing a little love at the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't like them, but I do respect them. And thought I'd just, wear a little red today on the Super Bowl. We're going to talk a whole lot of football later. You see Fish Bear with his Dallas Cowboys on. Big congratulations to Dak Prescott winning the Walter Payton Man of the Year honors.
Yes.
That's a highly prestigious award amongst NFL players. So congratulations to him. Congratulations, Fish. And, other than that, I forgot to ask you, how was your weekend? What'd you do?
It was good, man. So let's see. I went to a friend's house, Cunningham's, for the Super Bowl. Been doing that for many years now. Yeah, absolutely. Saturday night, went to see that Kiss tribute show. Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Speed.
Like amazing performance.
It was fun.
Didn't look like they missed any tricks.
No, it was great. Two guys are from two local guys. One, the drummer, is a brand new to the band. It was his first performance.
Really?
Saturday night. Yes, local Akron drummer.
From the videos I saw, looked like he nailed it.
He was great. He dressed up like the Eric Carr Fox makeup as well, which was cool.
And the drum set was amazing.
Yeah, it was great, man. He had the whole gong, the whole 9 yards, man. And
I was
singing songs. Go ahead, sorry.
I just want to say I wanted to go, but like I said, I played basically 2 full concerts in 2 days.
Yeah.
I was exhausted.
We'll play them more, man. They come around at
Yeah,
least annually, but they're making it bigger and they're going on larger tours
it
and
looks
stuff like
like
that.
it.
It was a nice crowd. It was good to, and they were singing songs off of a lot off the Unmasked Kiss album, which you don't hear live a whole bunch these days with any type of tribute band or Kiss themselves. Of course, they don't sing those songs really anymore. But
No.
really, really cool. So go see Mr. Speed if you're a Kiss fan. That was a great time on Saturday and Friday. Went out to my friend Mary. It was her birthday, so she's a hardworking nurse in the Northeast Ohio area. So wished her a happy birthday. Hung out with her and
Okay.
some friends on Friday. So it was all a very nice weekend, man.
Cool. Now let me ask you a question. Did they play any
Yep.
songs off any of the stuff when they took off the makeup? Animalize and any of that stuff.
I don't think I'm trying to think here now. I don't think they did anything post makeup. They did I Love It Loud from Creatures of the Night and stuff. I don't think they did
Okay.
anything post makeup. It's more the makeup era Kiss. A lot of fun.
See, if I had any reason not to see them or even see Kiss anymore, that would be the reason. I am just cold gin to death. I want to hear,
Yeah.
Thrills in the Night and all that stuff. So
I'm with
okay.
you there, man. That would have been cool, but no.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, brother. Now I did catch some video. For some reason overseas, they do that stuff. I caught them doing some animalized stuff on some videos on YouTube. So with makeup, which was really weird to see. No.
Yeah, some of those
brother,
albums made it big over there, for sure. Yeah, so you're right. They
Yeah.
definitely do that more overseas. You're right.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to fill in for Skinner with some world news. So why don't you go ahead and take it away, bro?
Yeah, absolutely. So my daughter Peyton pointed this out even today. I didn't hear this story, so it's world news, but it turns out to be local news for us here. So of course we're in the Northeast Ohio area. If you listen to us, you know that. So we're in the Akron area, which is about 40 minutes south of Cleveland. We had a train derailment on February the 3rd, which I did not hear, in East Palestine, Ohio. So Peyton said a train derailment in Palestine. I'm like, why is she worried about? I'm thinking it's something overseas or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Didn't realize it was right here in Ohio. So it was a, this is from NBCnews.com. I'm reading the story here. So it was a 150-car train carrying hazardous chemicals and derailed on February the 3rd. So the Ohio Department of Natural Resources said the chemical spill resulting from the derailment had killed an estimated 3,500 small fish across 7.5 miles of streams as of Wednesday. So one resident from North Lima, Ohio, 10 miles away from East Palestine, said that she had 5 hens and a rooster die suddenly on Tuesday. Yes. So there's a lot of photos of this out there, and you could look it up like Ohio train derailment or Ohio train. I'm sure you'll find it online. But, big clouds of gas and different things. So now they say that things are getting safe again. Let's see, the EPA is overseeing the air quality. They've not detected any levels of concern at this time. So they're telling people that they had to evacuate. So they had to evacuate. Let's see, managers. Let's see. There's a lot of evacuations around the vicinity there. So it's kind of a big deal here. So
very big deal.
They're saying it's safe, but then when you hear stuff like that, you see stuff like that, you wonder, is it really safe? Are they endangering the environment and endangering people and animals, and by transporting so much of whatever the heck this chemical was, 150 cars. I mean, obviously, when something goes wrong like it did here, I mean, it's, who knows what it's doing. And there's also some people saying that, I mean, who the heck knows what's happening when all these chemicals and gases are blending together and getting up into the atmosphere? What the heck is going on? How far it can travel? So, it's certainly a concern for a lot of people here. So, I don't know, man. So, what do you think about all this, man?
Well, there's a lot here, Bish. And you're right. It might not seem like a big deal, but it's a big deal. First of all, we are so desensitized to things and these buzzwords that we hear, and we don't realize how big a deal it is. Like the word evacuate. Just stop and think for a minute. Boom, leave your home now.
Yeah.
Just think about that. All your stuff, everything you got, just think about that. You don't know what to take, what to leave. That's huge. Even if it's one family, that's just really big. The second thing about all this is I just don't understand. 150 cars of this stuff.
Yeah.
Why have we not figured out, you know what they can do is spend the money. These cars are to be spill proof in case of a collision. This is being cheap. This is being lazy. This is being irresponsible. I'm looking at pictures of these chemical clouds up in the sky. You got residents who the government are saying, yeah, it's safe to go back, but they're looking at dead chickens and roosters in their house. I mean, their yard. What's the fallout effect of these fish? We know about the ones that kill. What about the ones that got sick?
That's right.
And they swim away.
Yeah, something's going to eat them, and who knows what happens. You're right. In
my opinion, heads need to roll because this is irresponsibility at its finest. You know, all the technology in this world. You know, you can make a container where my mayo doesn't drip out of it. You can make a container where chemicals don't spill out in case of a wreck. But people don't want to spend the money. I don't know. They just don't seem to care. And to me, it's just unacceptable. So our prayers for all the residents and for all of us. Who knows how far these implications can reach? You know, the branches keep going. You know, where is all of this fallout going to leak into? Is it going to seep into somebody's airspace? Is it going to seep into somebody's water? Is that fish going to seep into somebody's stomach? So, wow, it's just really, really sad, man. And I don't think it should just get wiped away. Somebody needs to take responsibility for this, and I hope they do.
Yeah, I agree with you on all points, man. I think we have to watch the news very closely around here to see. Like you said, we may not know for several years the impacts of something like this. You just don't know. I remember as a kid, Keith, as you know, in the Kenmore area where we grew up there, there's train tracks right down the road from me and right down at the end of the street here. I think it was the early 90s, there was some train that derailed and it had something there and we got evacuated. So it was one of those whole deals where it was like a certain block radius of the tracks. And it was that type of scene where people came at night, you know, police and everybody knocked on people's doors and they just had to leave. Get out. It was the same type of situation. Yeah, so my parents were lucky enough that they can come into this very house I'm in now, my grandparents' house, which is just a few blocks away, but it was outside the evacuation area, and you know we stayed here for a couple of days here. But I remember going back to the house or kind of sneaking into the house to get some clothes or something like that. That was one of the most eeriest feelings I ever felt was going on a street where it was nobody around. It was almost like you were, you know, sneaking into a horror movie or a post-apocalyptic movie or something like that. It was very, very strange. Now, it wasn't a big deal. Nothing like this, but very odd experience. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. So hopefully, like you say, there's not a lot of damage, but as you said too, there's got to be a way to help prevent something like this to where worst case scenario that's, you know, very unlikely to leak out hazardous chemicals into the air and the water and everything else. So just crazy. Yep.
And Fish, we just addressed the leak. Let's back up. I mean, the spill. Let's back up a little bit. How did the train derail? Those questions need to be answered.
Yeah, I don't know if I have seen the details here, but you're right. If it was irresponsible driving, or I don't know. I haven't seen exactly what happened there. I'm sure it's out there, but I did not catch that part in the clip that I pulled here. But a lot of investigation, though. Yes, I agree.
Yep. Awesome. Okay. Wow. We'll keep an eye on that story. As Fish said, this directly affects us. This is, we are Northeast Ohio, and this is east, about 10 miles from Lima, Ohio. So, wow, we don't know how far these implications will reach and how long these effects will last. So we'll just pray that it is minimal.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you, Fish. Thanks for covering for Skin Bone.
Sure.
And let's move on to a little sports and music. And of course, I got two sports stories. Of course, the big one is the Super Bowl. We are recording this one day removed from the big Super Bowl. But let's back up last week. There's another big story, too, that relates directly to us. And, of course, LeBron James has broken a record that they said could not be broken, would not be broken. As far as the records go in the NBA, it is the golden grail, if you will, as far as records are concerned, and that is the NBA all-time scoring record held by 40 years by the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah.
Who, in the conversation of greatest players of all time, his name is not mentioned. I don't know why. When you look at the fact that he was a unbelievable champion in college and then came into the pros, won a championship with one team, and on Lakers won multiple championships. So anyway, an incredible feat by LeBron, and just putting it in a vacuum, Fish, because I could talk about LeBron all day long. There's a lot right now going on with him, a lot I don't like. I have lost some respect for him, but just talking about basketball, what he has done is utterly remarkable. When you think about the way the game, people talk about how the game has gotten softer. It has, but the players have gotten softer too. So when you think about a guy who's played almost 20 years with minimal injury, with the physical specimen that he is, it is absolutely remarkable feat, I think. People want to criticize him for being pass first and not that killer like Jordan is. Well, yeah, but he still made the scoring record. So, that's hypocritical. Really, really proud of the fact that he is from Akron, Ohio, just a kid from Akron, Ohio, and the greatest record in the NBA belongs to a kid from Akron, Ohio. So congratulations to LeBron James. I know back and forth, who's the best all time, him, Michael Jordan, all that stuff to me, I'm tired of it. I think, all things being relative, Michael Jordan's the greatest player in the history of the game, but I think the greatest athlete we've ever seen play this game is LeBron James, without question. No one has ever been that size with that speed. You look at Anthony Davis, hurt again. Zion Williams, number one pick in the draft, was supposed to blow the NBA up, can't stay on the court. And here's LeBron, 20 years, man, killing it. So big ups to him. Your thoughts on that record?
Yeah, it's an amazing accomplishment. It really is. And some people, other sports commentators have said the same thing, that it doesn't necessarily, we're not saying he's the best player ever because he has that record, but it's certainly an accomplishment. Some people also have said that, well, yeah, LeBron came out of high school and Kareem went to college. Well, if I heard the stat correctly, LeBron achieved the record in less games than Kareem did. So, and obviously it's hard to compare those two anyway.
It's hard.
There are different positions. There's different, different scenarios.
It's like saying this apple is a better apple than this orange. Well, that's an orange. So,
But it's definitely a symbol, as you mentioned here, to his longevity in the game and to continue to play the game at a high level into his.
Yes.
What is he? 40 years old? How old is he? Like 30s?
38 or something. What do they say in the NFL? Your best ability is your availability. And you can always count on LeBron James being out there on the court playing at a high level.
And you know what? You never I don't recall. I mean, he's certainly gotten hurt here and there. Okay,
Yes, especially
LeBron
recently. He's
James.
over.
He is one of these players like one of the all time greats to where uh, he understands the fact, like Michael Jordan and Magic and Bird and all those guys did before him, that a fan is coming to see a game. They want to see LeBron James play. If they're coming to pay to see the Cleveland
Right.
Cavaliers or the Miami Heat or the Los Angeles Lakers, they want to see LeBron James play. And unless he's hurt, he is going to play several minutes.
Yes.
This whole load management crap,
Oh man,
he
sure.
doesn't subscribe to that. You know what I'm saying? So he gets
These
out
guys
there
are
and
so
plays
soft.
hard. And then, like you say, to be able to do that, it's a huge commitment on his body and all the things he does. I mean, he spends a lot of money on it, I'm sure, to keep in tip-top shape. But
Oh yeah.
obviously, it's been worth the investment for him. So, hey, kudos for him. Great accomplishment. So, definitely props to LeBron from fellow Akron kids.
Yep, definitely. Okay, all right. So moving on. Super Bowl, what is it, 52?
No, I think that was like 57, wasn't it?
57, that's right. Okay. The Kansas City Chiefs and Kansas City Chief fashion came back and beat the Philadelphia Eagles. I have the Eagles winning this game 35-30, I believe. And for a while, it looked like that's what we were going to see. Man, just a big overall. We're going to break it down, but my overall take, Fish, was mad respect for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh yeah,
I don't like them. I think they've gotten arrogant. I think they've disrespected the games a time or two. But Pat Mahomes is checking all the boxes when it comes to greatness. One,
yes.
you win. Number two, you do it consistently. You're not a shot in the dark or whatever. And three, you fight through injury. You fight through the hard times. You don't make the excuses. I mean, when that guy limped off the field at halftime, I said, they're done. They're
me too.
done. The Eagles are going to pounce on them. And they came back out, and it was the other way around. So it was a great, great win. It was an entertaining Super Bowl. Of course, you and I didn't have a dog in the fight, and I really didn't care who win. I picked the Eagles. It was great enjoyment. The first drive of the game, boom, Eagles score. Kansas City first drive, they score. It was just like, wow, this is going to be great, and it did not disappoint. Just your overall thoughts of the game.
Yeah, it was definitely a Super Bowl where, and they all don't feel this way, where you had two number one seeds playing in the game, and it's exactly what it looked like. It looked like these are definitely, no question, the top two teams in football playing
the rest of the
a
NFL
great
is not
game.
there, are they?
No, and it could have went either way. You know what I mean? So that's exactly what the fan wants to see. There was a lot of records in this game broken. I mean, there's definitely a handful of them we get into, but including the fact that Philadelphia had the most points in a loss in Super Bowl history with 35 points. So that says something right there. So, yeah, I mean, the only thing was obviously some people were talking about the hold penalty toward the end of the game. Anyway, but overall, very great game, very entertaining. Right. Didn't get to take my eyes off it. Just like I say, what a masterful performance by both quarterbacks. Really played a terrific absolutely. Game.
Jalen Hurts has nothing to be ashamed of. He balled out last night.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's break it down more specific here, and let's get into the very beginning of the game. We saw some great musical performances in the beginning. Now, I am not a fan of the way that this was marketed. We're going to do Black National Anthem, White National. I'm not a fan of that crap, but the song, which I grew up learning in school, and we were taught it was the Black National Anthem. That's what it was. Can't even think of the song. what's her name? She played on Moesha, Shirley Ralph, which I never knew she could sing, especially that good. Came out and just blew the place up with Lift Every Voice and Sing. And then we saw a great rendition of Babyface do America the Beautiful. Mm-hmm. And of course, I think the show was stolen with the national anthem, which was done by one of the popular artists today, Chris Stapleton. It was just really great. Guitar playing, his voice. So I thought that was a great opening Super Bowl. And of course, the Jets that flew over made history as well. All female pilots, remarkable. We've come a long way. Your thoughts on the opening songs?
I'm with you, man. It was great. I mean, every song was awesome. Just one of the better opening of the Super Bowl in recent memory that I could think of, anyway. So everything was just very well done.
Like you said. Definitely. The game, like I said, we had an opening drive, score. Kansas City opening drive, they scored, and the first half was excellent. Boom, as advertised. The less than a minute in the first half, well, actually going off the field, we saw Patrick Mahomes get hurt the way he was wincing and laying back in that bench. It didn't look good. And we already were suspect that the guy was suffering from a high ankle sprain coming into the game, which I really didn't think he was going to be as mobile as he was, because one, he played through it when he injured himself. And then a week later, he showed up and played in the AFC Championship, which blew us all the way. And I thought, man, he's just going to have some serious soreness for a couple of weeks. Man, we didn't see it at all. Then when he got hurt, it was like, boom, this game is over with. Man, he manned up, and he is the real deal. This kid might get a bust in Canton before he ever retires, because right now, the combination of him and Andy Reid, we're looking at Tom Brady and Bill Belichick all over again. And I thought Andy Reid was the difference in the second half. He outcoached Sirianni on the Eagles. They just figured Philly out. Philly couldn't be stopped. Man, Brown and I forget the other receiver for Philly, they were doing whatever they wanted to do. And Jalen Hurts was running. You know, as soon as you played, you backed your coverage up, Jalen Hurts would take off on you, easy 10, 20, 30 yards. But they figured them out. They shut them down completely in the second half. So I thought Andy Reid was and of course, Patrick Mahomes was the big difference for Kansas City in the second half. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, just I mean, this game, this performance, just it's from Mahomes. I mean, to me, it cements him into the Hall of Fame. It's 2 Super Bowl victories in 4 years.
Yeah, he did it.
Yeah, like you say, everything you just mentioned is almost a flawless game, playing through pain, the whole bit, class act. This kid's just really a joy to watch. So, no question about it, he's going to get in the Hall of Fame after these couple of performances. And you think about that last drive too, kid. It was like Kansas City got the ball. It was a solid 4+ minutes to go in the game.
Amazing.
And Philadelphia did not see the ball until a few seconds to go.
I told my sister, I said, that's going to be the key. Don't let them see the ball again. That's just what they did. And also too, Travis Kelce. Why is this guy open all the time? He is dangerous. Obviously, the best tight end in football right now. But you look when he gets the ball, it's like, where is anybody around this guy? Is he that good to get it open or what? He also, we got to give him credit, man. He is the dude. He is making play after play after play. Yeah. He caught the very first pass from Patrick Mahomes, and the table was set. The rest of the game. So. I didn't want to mention it, but I think we have to. There were some calls that were really like,
Yeah.
Kansas City got away with one early. That was a murder. Then it came back on Philly. And, of course, the big controversial one was the holding call at the end. And I listened to some of the quote-unquote experts talk about it. And I heard one say, he had a big problem with it. Forget his name at the moment. He's a former quarterback. And he made some really good points about the call. He said, let them play. You were letting them play, and then you make that call. Then Rod Clark came back and said, you know what? That's ridiculous because if you see the call, you got to call it. And I said, well, that makes sense too. And I thought about it like this. The referees have done this to us. They've conditioned us to come up with these terms. We'll let them play because of the fact of their inconsistency. And you set the tone, and I don't play the NFL. I'm just going by what I've heard the players say and the professionals say. You set the tone in the beginning of the game on how you're going to call it. And the players sense that. Oh, man, they're calling everything. Oh, man, they're letting us play. You set the tone. We as fans can sit back and watch and see. Well, unfortunately, it's just inconsistency. We saw, Cincinnati, Kansas City, Mahomes Joe Burrow get assaulted, and there was no roughing the passer. A week before that, a couple weeks before that, the last game of the season, we saw Cameron Hayward gently grab Cleveland Browns quarterback, lay the guy down, and he got a penalty. So we don't know what's what, and there's no consistency in the NFL, or there's not enough of it, I should say. So the tone was set. There was no holding calls that entire game. The refs, you set the tone for that game. And to call that, which, yeah, it was holding to a degree. But, man, in the biggest game of these young men's lives, to make that last call on that drive in that situation, I just don't think it's right, man. I just don't think it's right. So, I don't know. Your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, I hated to see any type of controversy at that stage of the game, too. I mean, you can flip it around and say, okay, Kansas City, they were in field goal range, at least. But, and they wouldn't have taken up as much time. So who knows what would have happened there. So it was unfortunate that the game came down to that. Now, the defender did issue a statement, I see, where he said he did hold the jersey and hope no one called it. Oh, yeah. If you saw that or not. So now that's interesting, too, because you don't see that very often either. No. So, it smelled like, was he, I don't know. Did he feel compelled to say something because of the game? I don't know. But he again, to his credit, one way or the other, he did say he did hold the guy and hope to get away with it. So
now I'm saying this as a fan, right? Now, if I was on the Eagles football team and you walked up to me in the locker room after the game and you asked me about all this stuff, my feelings would be this: hey, we fumbled and gave up a defensive touchdown.
That's right.
We did some things to where we could have won this game, and we didn't. We're not going to look at one call and say, this cost us the game or whatever. And even as a fan, I'm not going to say that. But it is part of the controversy that surrounds the game. Now, there was some other controversy that surrounded the game, too. First of all, let's move on to the halftime show. Rihanna performed. It was very obvious after a few minutes that she was with child. It was a brilliant clothing design that hit it. She wore fluffy red, but a red shirt on the inside, so it blended together. You could hardly tell. And I thought maybe the camera angles had done better. Nobody would have ever known. But whatever. That's great. No problem. She performed, a lot of her hit songs. I'm not what you call a Rihanna fan. Not as a person especially, but there are a couple of songs of her that I really, really dig, especially as a musician. I think the song Diamonds is just a beautiful song, and she has another one too that I love. And there's one on the Black Panther Wakanda Forever soundtrack, not the main one for the show, but there's one that didn't get released called Born Again. I think it's absolutely beautiful. But the criticism, or let me say the good things that people are saying about the show, because I'm always like, can somebody do something different? I'm just tired of the 50 dancers and all that other stuff. One thing she did different, she didn't have any guests show up. Came out, did her thing, and it was all her. Now, a lot of people are giving her credit for that, but I got to tell you, it was kind of boring to me. The show got kind of boring. Her performance got kind of boring for me. So, it depends how you look at it, I guess. I don't know, but their outfits were, I don't know what to say about that. I thought it was kind of weird. She looked like that one red Imperial Stormtrooper with the normal Stormtroopers. But man, it was amazing. I don't know how people can remember all these dance moves, staying in formation. People were floating in the air. That was incredible.
Yeah,
in itself.
The stages, yeah.
I would imagine that illusion at the stadium was incredible. So, your thoughts on the performance?
Yeah, I overall I thought it was pretty good. Like I said, the floating stages they did that was neat. Yeah, that was neat to be up there, and they gave a whole other dimension and dynamic to the show. And she was good. I mean, it was. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't for me personally. It was not the most entertaining halftime show overall, but it certainly was not the worst. And she gave it. I don't know. I was entertained. I'll put it that way. I watched the whole thing. I was entertained. I was compelled by the floating stages and all that stuff. I'm kind of a fuddy-duddy, I guess. I don't understand some of the moves and the crotch grabbing and this and that and the other. Some of that stuff I don't quite get.
Bending over, putting your butt up in the air. I don't get all that stuff either, brother. I mean, what is going on? But I'll tell you this much. I do respect, the effort into the dancing. It's just amazing. So I know I'm catching you off guard here, Fish. I'll give you a minute to think about it. But is there anything you would like to see in the halftime show? I'm going to tell you one thing I would like to see. I would like to see a live band. And not to be so rehearsed and so polished, but just to do your thing. When I'm on stage with a band and the night's going well, there's that moment where we just feeling it and then we just take off with together and we don't know where we're going, but the crowd's with us, we're with us. I want to see a band just cut loose and do their thing. I bet Junior would agree with me. Just a live performance, a real performance where you work the crowd and it's spontaneous, it's spur of the moment, and that's when it's magical. I would love to see that. I don't want to hear pre-recordings. No. We roasted a duo by the name of Milli Vanilli years ago. Cost them their lives for doing what everybody does today.
Right.
It's crazy. So
I'm with you.
Go ahead, bud.
The live performances, it does seem to be more of a lost art lately. I think that's for me.
Bruno Mars killed it, though. He did a great job.
He was great. Yes. Yeah. Phenomenal.
Killed it.
And Prince for me had one of the best halftime shows, arguably of all time. And that's what that was. He went out there, played live, he sang, pouring down rain, playing electric guitar, but just went with it. That was a moment, to your point. That was a moment, that was an experience.
Yeah. And
Prince knew it when he was in the middle of it as well, I'm sure. But you don't get those moments as much as I think Bruno. Like you say, Bruno Mars was fabulous. That was a moment as well. His singing, the performing, the whole thing.
Opening drum solo,
yeah. If they make it too artsy, and like you say, the lip sync. Last year was cool too, with all the old school rap artists and hip hop artists coming out and singing. That was pretty cool. Yeah, that was that was a memorable performance.
I just want to hear more instruments played. Yeah, and I wanted to have that magic to happen at the moment. You know what I mean? I remember years and years ago on one of the MTV outdoor shows or whatever. I forget one of the big shows they had back then, and Bush performed, and it rained. And Gavin grabbed his guitar and did Glycerine in the rain, raining all over his guitar and amp, played to the moment, and it was one of the most magical music moments on television. It was awesome. So just want to see some more of that. Okay. All right. So obviously, always the big deal every year, the commercials. People look to see these big high price commercials that come out. Years ago, this became a big deal when it was $1 million a commercial, and everybody went to see the Super Bowl commercials, and there were some great ones. There were some people just like, wow, what is this crap? And then you'll see right in the middle of all that, something you've been seeing for 15 years, like, just a dumb commercial. Like, how did that get in there? This year had some good stuff, had some controversial stuff, had some weak stuff, and just a few that caught my eye that I thought was real. I love when there's when there's a connection between the star in the commercial, if there's a star in it, and the actual product. And I thought the Ben Affleck working in the drive-thru, the Dunkin' Donuts, was great. He's always being spotted with the Dunkin' Donuts cup. And it's so funny how the end of that commercial, well, first of all, big back up. I love how he wasn't all pretty boyed up, at the scruff, like he might be working a drive-thru for real. And then at the end of it, J-Lo comes through fussing at him. And this is off the heel of the Grammys when the camera caught them having some moments like that. So I thought that was really entertaining too. That commercial caught my eye. Did you like that one?
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, that was one of the more entertaining ones of all of them. I agree with you.
We also had, I thought was cool, was the Doritos commercial that played off the break. I like how had David Cranston and the Breaking Bad characters in there, and they were true to characters. I just didn't like the whole drug message, for the kids or whatever, because it's kind of what they're playing against. But as an adult, I thought it was entertaining. That one was pretty cool. You like that one?
Yep, that was a great one.
And of course, one of my favorites, because I thought this was a great Gen X commercial and a Gen X moment to see an older John Travolta.
Yeah.
Doing a mock version of Summer Lovin' in the Spectrum commercial with guys from
two guys from Scrubs. Two guys from Scrubs. Yeah.
It just made me stop and think, like, wow, when I watched that movie, I remember seeing it years ago on Star Channel. I just can imagine seeing a bald-headed 60-something-year-old Travolta, down the road later doing this. And it just makes you reflect a little bit. Living John's not with us anymore. But it was cool to hear that song, one of my favorite songs, if not my favorite song from the movie. So you said you liked that one too?
Yeah, that was a good one. And he sounded good. He sounded good singing it still.
Yeah, he did. Is there any I didn't mention that caught your attention that you like?
There was one. I think it was Paramount Plus. It was they were, some of the TV actors were climbing Mount Stallone or something like that. Yes. So it was a young Sylvester Stallone's face, and the actual Sylvester Stallone was climbing it. And his daughters look
good too.
Yeah, that was a good one. The dog ones were very sweet. The one with the dog.
That was great.
They got the friend for the dog and that type of stuff. I don't remember what they were advertising. Yeah, I don't recall what they were advertising, but I do remember that one.
It was
the Caddyshack parody was good with but I've seen those commercials before, the Mick Ultra Caddyshack theme commercials. They've already showed those.
They did a great job with the Caddyshack stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's just not a lot of.
Rumble did good with that.
Yeah, not a lot of super iconic. You don't see like the Clydesdales and the Budweiser, the Bud Bowl.
Well, we did have the E-Tray babies. Those were cute. That was good.
That was good. That was good to see those guys come back here. But it just wasn't as big of a. I don't know. Like the last few years, they don't seem like they're as big a draw as years past.
No,
to me anyway.
No. I haven't seen one that made me just crack up in a long time. I think the last one that did was the Dorito commercial when the kid built a time machine. You had to put Doritos in it for it to work. And when the guy came out, the older guy had walked out the house and he thought it was him. He was like, "Billy, you're so old."
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. But you're right. I haven't seen anything. Okay, so that's basically the game in a nutshell. But there was one commercial that is taking a lot of flack today. And it also lines up with another part of the game that happened in the beginning. We saw Damar Hamlin show up at the game, which I'm sure was inspirational to a lot of people to see him standing there looking great, hugging people. That was great. But there was something about him that caused some issues. And it goes coincide with a commercial that I saw. There was a commercial basically called "He Gets Us," the He being Jesus Christ. And I don't know, that commercial is being attacked, saying it was going against the LGBTQ people. And then Damar Hamlin had this jacket on, and the back of this jacket had a depiction of Jesus Christ, almost like a zombie, if you will, on the cross, deemed very disrespectful. So, not to go into both of those specific, but do you think it's a good idea to bring in, I'll say, quote unquote, religion into this, or should it just be left out, or these are isolated incidents? What do you think, Fish?
It's. I mean, the commercials themselves, for me anyway, I mean, they were fine. It was just like they were promoting unity and love for one another, all that stuff, and let's not hate each other, that type of deal. And it was like, what is this commercial for? And it just had sort of the, Jesus, he gets us. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on with the Damar Hamlin jazz. I've seen some things on social media about it. Yeah. I really haven't absorbed all that yet, frankly. But I don't know. Is it hard to? Can you really say you're not? If I have the money, and I'm not putting up a commercial that's promoting anything weird or hateful or anything like that. I mean, I don't understand the big deal or the harm in it personally. Now, you can certainly argue and say, if you steer clear of all that stuff, then you're not going to potentially offend people. But then it's like, is that too much?
Yeah.
I don't know. At the end of the day, it's like, hey,
and I think
these are nice commercials. They're fine. It's okay. It was okay for me personally. It didn't bother me. So I think it's fine as long as the message is one of unity and everything else like these were. So what do you think?
Well, I agree with what you said, because, to say, oh, yeah, still stay clear of them. Well, somebody can say, you know what? I don't want to see beer commercials.
That's true. That's right.
That's right. So it's all good. And I certainly, the one that he gets us, me, those of you listening, if you don't know, I do pastor a church here in Akron. And, anytime a message of Christ can be put on TV, I'm for it. And I can only say this, and I know I speak for a lot of true Christians, and I say true Christians, not churchy people as we call them. People say, well, I go to church. That's great and fine, but Satan goes to church too. He's the first one there. But it's not about what you do. It's about how you live your life. It's not about what you say. It's about how you live your life. And if I go up to a tree and I look down there and there's a bunch of apples on the floor, I'm not judging. It's an apple tree. The evidence of the fruit of the labor of that tree is apples. You can't tell me that's a pear tree. You can give me all the arguments you want, but I know it's an apple tree. So people can talk a good game, but how you live your life is what it is. And the problem with some of these commercials to me is they're not made by true Christians, and they have an agenda. And then the message gets lost in the middle of that agenda. And then they take the word of God and they don't adhere to what it says, but their own version of it. So that's because my problem with the whole thing. And then people get confused. So I don't know. That's my only problem with it. Who's making these commercials and the legitimacy of them. So, that was the Super Bowl in a nutshell. All in all, it was a fantastic game. We saw a lot of history being made. Andy Reid had to feel good about, sticking it to Jeffrey Lurie and the Eagles. More controversy, and you know what? I have been defending this guy, but I can't defend him on this one. It's time for Terry Bradshaw to sit down. It is time. This dude is just off the reservation. That comment he made to Andy Reid was so disrespectful and out of left field during the trophy presentation.
Are you going to retire? Are you getting old? Right.
If I was Andy Reid, I would have said, I ain't old as you, you old bat. I mean, why would you even say that to a guy?
Yeah,
so
awkward.
Yeah. I don't want to delve into controversy. It was a good Super Bowl. I enjoyed it. And hope my Steelers are there beating up your Cowboys next year.
Hey, you never know.
Never know, brother.
Yep.
Okay, so that was basically sports and music in a nutshell. We talked about the Rihanna concert. I do want to talk about my song of the week pick. Way back in 1984, a song was released along with after a movie, actually, and it was just his time at that moment. The song was "When Doves Cry," and man, there was a lot in this song. The video was strong and popular for it. We got to see a lot of the famous backup band, The Revolution, at the time, the great Wendy and Lisa, and the song was just different. Opened up with a nice rock and roll guitar riff, and it was just something different, man. Never heard anything like it. When Doves Cry, Fish, like that song?
One of my favorites of the entire decade. Certainly one of my favorites of Prince. Arguably next to Purple Rain, his most popular song.
Yeah.
I could picture the video right now. Prince is gets out of the bathtub and all the doves flying around in the eyes with the tear, and then they can see the band up there playing. I watched that movie Purple Rain tons of times back then on cable. Arguably one of the great, we've talked about this on prior episodes here, but one of the greatest movie soundtracks of all time. Purple Rain. So I just love it. The vocals, everything about that song.
Don't forget the little dance steps at the end was all cool. Yeah. This very cool, very unique song. So 1984, man, we were just heading to high school.
Yeah, we were 83, 84 would have been our freshman year in high school.
Yeah, absolutely. I was still at the junior high school. You guys probably up at the high school at the time. So when that song came out, we thought it was just the greatest thing ever. We heard nothing about it. Their big battle of Michael Jackson versus Prince was raging on, and he brought a different style to the mix, if you will. He was definitely different. He was a musician, a talented musician, could play. I don't even know how many instruments, just utterly ridiculous. He showed his chops on the guitar like nobody had ever seen before. There was a great little keyboard run at the end, and it was just a really, really, really awesome song at the time. So, When Doves Cry, 1984, Prince and the Revolution. All right, some pop culture vision.
You never know when the blitz is on, but if you don't pick it up on time, you're looking at a 300-pound Sandman. Madden NFL 94 for Sega Genesis and Super NES. Full season schedule and bigger, faster players ready to tuck you in. If it's in the game, EA Sports. It's in the game.
Very good stuff, man.
Thank you, bro.
Okay. All right. We did have a music artist pass away recently here, Keith. So Burt Bacharach passed away last Wednesday. He was 94 years of age, passed away at his home in Los Angeles due to natural causes. if you're a younger person listening to us, you may not know the name. You do know some of his songs, though, I'm sure, including, let's see, Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. Very popular song that was made it big in the movie Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. He won an Oscar for Best That You Could Do. So he, let's see, won Oscars. That was the theme for Arthur. So he wrote that song, sung by Christopher Cross. And then other movie soundtracks included Alfie, What's New Pussycat, and the 67 James Bond spoof Casino Royale. And he also made an appearance, a brief appearance. If you're an Austin Powers fan, he made a cameo appearance in Austin Powers movie when he was, singing in the limo, playing the piano. Just very smooth voice, very talented artist. So, were you a fan of Burt Bacharach, sir?
Without question. From a young age, I dug Burt Bacharach. I thought, how cool can it be to write hits other people do and then sing hits yourself? When I heard him sing for the first time, I was like, man, what a cool, scratchy voice. He was so smooth. And then, he had a great relationship with Dionne Warwick, who made a lot of his songs big. Walk On By. I Say a Little Prayer for You. I'll Never Fall in Love Again. And of course, my favorite, What the World Needs Now, is Love, Sweet Love. So he just was a hit machine. Bad respect for Burt Bacharach. God bless his family. And he was great.
Absolutely. Okay, so as you mentioned, we're shooting this on Monday, the 13th of February. So tomorrow is Valentine's Day. The San Antonio Zoo has a promotion. They've been doing it, I don't know how many years now. 2020. They launched it in 2020. So to raise money for the zoo, you can have a cockroach named, or let's see, allows donors to name a cockroach, a rodent, or a vegetable. Can be named after an X if you wish. And those animals are then fed to other animals. Or the vegetable or rodent, whatever it is. So, and then you get some type of, certificate or some type of an announcement. It comes with a digital, here it is. It comes with a digital Valentine's Day card that you can send to the individual. It doesn't have to be an X. It just could be anybody, anybody that bothers you or somebody's
X
joke
sounds great.
Or something. Yeah. So for $150, you can do that. I'm sorry, take that back. You can upgrade to a $150 donation. You can also send a personalized video message to the not so special someone as the roach, rat, or veggie meets its demise. So they will film that for you for $150, and you can send it over there. So it's, in one sense, it's a good cause for the zoo, I suppose. But it's just a weird, I don't know. I can't imagine spending money to name a cockroach after an X. Yeah, you might have thoughts of maybe doing something like that, but I don't know. It's an interesting promotion. So what do you think about naming a cockroach or a rat or something that's going to be eaten by another animal on behalf of somebody else?
Well, in a tongue-in-cheek way, I think it's funny. But realistically, it's a bit too much. I think only problem is going to come from that. Somebody's going to find out and appreciate it. And, issues can arise from that. I think it's just a bit much. And I think I get it. I think if that's where your heart is, then you need to check yourself. And like I said, I get it. I just talked about this yesterday in church. I have an ex right now, and I'm just really been praying and dealing with not having negative thoughts about this person. It stems from wanting that person to hurt as much as they hurt you. So I understand that, but leave them thoughts as thoughts. Don't act on them. Matter of fact, get rid of the thoughts. Let go, forgive for your sake. Stuff like this can only just lead to bigger problems.
Yeah, well said, man. I had to get my head there with some exes in the past, and you know some of the troubles I've had in the past. And yeah, the minute I decided to, like you say, forgive that person in my mind anyway, and have peace and move on, I'm a much better mental place for years ever since that. Yeah. So, well said. So, don't name a cockroach maybe name a cockroach after the anger of, maybe this is your closure for that person. Name the cockroach after, maybe that's your symbolism there. Name it after that person, okay, but let the demise of the cockroach be the forgiveness in your heart and move on. Yeah. How about
Make
that?
Make it therapeutic, cathartic, if you will. Yes.
Yeah, there you have it. So, I like this. Maybe we'll name a rat after Skinner or something like that, Keith. I'm thinking about that. Or maybe I'll just leave it there. We'll leave it there. Okay. Just a real quick, I thought this was kind of cool here. So Amy Poehler and Tina Fey. So, they've hosted different award shows together and all that. I just think they banter off each other very well. They're
made for each other.
They just announced they're going to do a live tour starting the spring of 2023. And it's going to hit 4 cities on the East Coast: Washington, D.C., Chicago, Boston, and Atlantic City. And if it does well, it seems like maybe they'll continue to do that. I think that'd be great. I mean, I think they work well together. Like I said, when they do the live events and everything like that. So it sounds unique to me. I'd love to see them if they were coming in this area. I would strongly consider buying a ticket. So 2 of the funniest ladies around, in my opinion. So what do you think about the Amy Poehler, Tina Fey tour? Keith, any thoughts on that? You don't really care so much.
Big Tina Fey fan, and I'm just in love with Amy Poehler.
Yeah.
And I totally respect when somebody finds something that works and they stick with it and they work it. Mm-hmm. Everybody tries to keep jumping with the next big thing and whatever. But, I love for years that Billy Crystal, Robin Williams, and Whoopi Goldberg just kept doing their thing together. They just worked together off each other.
Right.
Steve Martin and
Martin Short.
Yeah. They just worked it. It just works great, We see a lot with Key and Peele and people like that. Just if chemistry is something you can't manufacture.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so important and it's so overlooked. I don't care if it's sports, a relationship, or whatever. When you find chemistry with someone, hold on to it. So I think it's fantastic. Those 2 can only just keep dreaming of bigger and bigger things, and we benefit from it. So yeah, absolutely, it's awesome.
I agree. In comparison, like the chemistry on this podcast is, it's not unlike the train derailment in Ohio we talked about earlier. So
I'm looking for a new podcast every week, so I've been putting out applications.
Maybe the chemicals blend okay.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't. I don't know. We're still trying to experiment and figure it out. I don't know.
I'm still waiting to hear back from them guys from Convince the Idiots. They won't even call me back. I can't even get a call back.
Oh my God. That's funny. Yeah, they don't respond to me neither. So I mean, it's fine. Hey, can you guys help with something there? Nothing. Crickets. Yeah, how about an idea? Yeah. Nope.
Wow.
All right. Okay. So some of the articles, it's just funny. So I caught this one today. So here's the headline: Instagram's sex censorship sweeps up educators, adult stars, and sex workers. So Adult stars and sex workers say Instagram unfairly patrols their accounts while letting celebrities dodge the same rules. So the article is basically some people so the sex workers, so they have a site somewhere else. So basically they have a website, or they have a thing where you can go and pay for, it's like an OnlyFans account or something like that, to where that's how they make their money, as far as you subscribe and you pay to see things, whatever. Hey, whatever. I'm not hurting anybody, to each their own. But they use a social media site like Instagram to try to drive traffic to their OnlyFans page or whatever. And some are saying that, hey, celebrities could put racy photos and different things out there to where they're scantily clad and so forth, and that it just generates more traffic. But for them, they may wake up one day and their account might be taken down or something like that. And if that traffic shuts off, then some of these people, they're going to be hard up for cash or whatever it is here. So, of course, the other side of it is, you might say, well, if you're in that line of work, you're taking a lot of risk anyway, because, if you are reliant upon a social media platform to drive traffic to your site that is regulated, and maybe the rules are a little loose and not fully defined, you may you may find yourself without traffic. I don't know. So do these people, in your opinion, do they have a legitimate concern? Is there...
Absolutely.
Go ahead, please.
Just being completely objective here, they absolutely do. I'm not supporting them, what they do, none of that. I'm just being objective as far as what the issue is. The same thing that a celebrity do that might be deemed racy, and hey, you got to check out the sexy photos or whatever, because of the nature of their job. It's not looked at like that. They're being monitored, if you will.
Right.
And there's a line set in front of them to not cross. It's the nature of the beast for their job, and it's hypocritical. I get it. So they're right. And social media is very hypocritical. One of the singers in one of my bands, Diamond Phillips Band, we were having rehearsal, and he filmed me playing the drums. And after rehearsal, he posted it on YouTube. I never knew he recorded it. And I could care less. I'm an entertainer. And I just typed it underneath, I'm going to strangle you, LOL. Just having fun. LOL, plain as day. I got put in Facebook jail because of it. I got in trouble because of that. And I couldn't try to explain to Facebook. They wouldn't let me. I was talking to a computer. Are you serious here? Did you not see the LOL? I'm not threatening to hurt anybody. But I looked on there yesterday. There was a video on there, and I can't even say on air what was on this video and what was said on this video. It was straight pornography. So there's a lot of hypocrisy throughout social media. And, I get what they're saying. And I think, what is cute or sexy for a celebrity might be crossing the line because of the nature of the beast of what they're doing.
Yeah, I agree. It's like, just define what the rules are, social media, and if people cross those boundaries, okay. But if your rules are not very strict, then you have to accept what people are running through there. So I don't know, man. I'm with you. All right, so let's look at so this week at pop culture history. Or Keith, we got a few interesting things here. So. Today, back in 1979, February 13th, the first patent granted for a baldness remedy. So this was in the, let's see here. So it was under the care of Dr. Charles A. Chidsey. What was the minoxidil? There you go. So that's what it was. So it was it was a cure for hypertension, and it showed some ability to grow hair. And obviously, there's many other things from there, Rogaine and some other stuff here over time. So it's a tough one. So it's like I wrestle with this a little bit myself. To be frank. I've been lucky enough, of course, I mean, we're the same age here, 54. I've been able to keep my hair for 50 some plus years. It's starting to thin a little bit in the back.
Yeah.
It's starting to bother me a little bit. I have thought about maybe going that direction, maybe. But then the other part of me is like, I'm putting chemicals on my head or in my body that, don't really know what all it's going to do necessarily, to try to grow some hair a little bit here. And, other part of me says, yeah, you know what? It's sort of like just something that happens.
Yeah.
And if I do wind up, thinning too much, you know what? I'll do like a lot of guys. I'll just shave my hair bald, maybe grow the beard out a little bit more or something like that. I'm lucky enough I can grow a full beard and you just sort of age, gracefully with it and all that stuff. So I don't know. So what are your thoughts on the whole baldness remedies? Is that something that, you shave your head anyways? You've been doing it as a fashion thing for many years.
I was going to say, I've been fortunate that my hair, I call it mutant hair. I can decide to go skin bald tomorrow and have my hair long enough to put braids in within 6 months. And like I said, if I was ever lose my hair, I would, because of that, I wouldn't care one bit. I go bald and boom, because I've done it on multiple occasions. And I've always had that attitude because I'm not going to worry about losing my hair. So with that being said, there is, hold on, let me make sure we don't lose no power here. All right. Okay. So with that being said, I have been in and out of rock bands for over 30 years. I have seen some things from guys who couldn't get their hair to grow 1 inch to all of a sudden they got a mane like this. So I'm just telling you, and any other guys, if you want to know how to get your hair to grow, I know the secret. Everybody who's listened to me have been happy with with what I've told them. I have seen how guys, when the rock star thing happened back in the 80s and all the bands had the long hair and you had to have long hair to be somebody, I have observed, I know how it's done, and I can tell you how to do it to get your hair to grow. So, I'll tell you on air just a couple of tips right here because it might help somebody. 1, mane and tail. Mane and tail works. I'm telling you, get that. Number 2, condition your hair with mayonnaise, real mayonnaise, not Miracle Whip. Number 3, take collagen protein every single day. So there's a lot of things you can do to help. But man, it is amazing to me, Fish, what was born out of hypertension remedies.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know Viagra was created because it was a medicine for hypertension. And one of the side effects was, I actually was in my doctor's office getting blood pressure stuff done for me. And describe you some, it wasn't Viagra, but one of the other ones, So a lot of stuff came out of the whole hypertension thing, but the whole hair thing and the erectile dysfunction stuff, those are actual side effects. Nothing was created to help those. They're actually side effects. Interesting to know.
Mayonnaise, huh? I can't get
Real
past the mayonnaise.
Yep. You wash that sucker with mane and tail, use mayonnaise for conditioner. 100% real mayonnaise.
What does that do? What is it, like clear the pores or something? Or you?
I can't remember offhand. We'll simply Google it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. What does that smell?
That's cool. That's Fisher. He's conditioning his hair, making a sandwich.
Yeah. All right. Interesting. Yeah. I'll have to talk more off camera. That's fascinating. Okay. In the year 2000, also today, the 13th, was the last Charles Schulz Peanuts comic. So he had done it for almost 50 years.
Wow.
He, as we know, he wrote and drew that strip himself all those years. So just a pretty amazing accomplishment. You're not really going to see that happen maybe ever again. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's some of these strips have been around for many years that we grew up with, and
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems to be just a thing of the past,
Yeah.
So, but again, just a pretty amazing accomplishment. I know we've talked about Peanuts off and on this podcast for a long time now here, but it was always a comic I read. Back in its time, earlier on.
Yeah.
It was definitely had a different feel and vibe. It sort of got a little bit. I mean, like anything, I guess, for 50 years, for crying out loud. I mean, you're going to run out of ideas. You're going to get this a little bit repetitive and things like that. But it was definitely a very smart comic and certainly memorable characters even to this day.
Yeah.
With the specials and everything else here. But that was one, all things considered.
Yeah.
My parents got the paper all growing up. I always look forward to getting the Sunday paper, getting the comic section, and Peanuts was typically the first strip that I read on the front page of the comics all those years. So, again, pretty amazing accomplishment. Thoughts on Charles Schultz? Thoughts on Peanuts?
Yeah, he had something different. There was, like you said, there was just something different about it that appealed to people. We were invested in these characters. We wanted Charlie Brown to have something good happen to him, just something. We wanted him to kick that football just once,
Mm.
Some of us wanted him to pop her upside the head a couple times for pulling that football too, So I'm not advocating violence towards women. I don't care. Anyway, so I'm the kind of person that appreciates technology, but I also understand some of the things that technology has stripped from us. And man, I had no greater joy than grabbing that daily paper and reading comic strips. Beetle Bailey, Marmaduke, all these things. But I definitely love Peanuts. Couldn't wait to read that one. And I don't think anything caught my attention for years like that until Calvin and Hobbes came out. And I was grateful to those. So great comic strip.
Yeah, good stuff. We should actually do you mentioned a couple of those. We should do our list of favorite comics of all time as a separate segment.
Idea.
Now that you mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, other shows that we liked, we had a segment on Sid and Marty Krofft in a recent episode, a few episodes back. In 2020, they earned a gold star on the Walk of Fame. So not all that long ago. So both brothers were still alive, at least at the time. So yeah, we talked about the other shows were kind of weird. They did Sigmund and the Sea Monsters, the Banana Splits. We had a whole thing. We talked about our favorites, Sid and Marty Krofft shows. So I didn't realize they were honored with the Walk of Fame here. So I think that's pretty cool for their accomplishments in children's programming. And they also did. They had a Brady Bunch variety show they did. They did Donnie and Marie show. We talked about that recently, too, because that debuted not long ago around this time. So, I don't want to say any other thoughts on Sid and Marty Krofft and their accomplishments or anything, Keith.
They're just synonymous with Saturday morning entertainment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Since I can remember, I've knew the name Sid and Marty Krofft. I don't even know what they look like to this day. But everything great was Sid and Marty Krofft. They remind me they're like what maybe Aaron Spelling is to the drama shows back in the 80s and 90s. Man, he was just producing everything. It seemed like that was great. But we listed their shows, so many of them, so many great shows. They deserve that Walk of Fame for sure.
Absolutely. We talked about last week the co-creator of Sesame Street passed away and stuff.
Yeah.
Just people that devote their lives to children and family television. It's a pretty special thing and a wonderful accomplishment and worthwhile profession for sure. So
yeah, for sure.
Good for them, like you say. Okay, February 14th. So it's interesting they debuted this movie on Valentine's Day, and all the way back in 1991. I can't believe it has been this long since the debut of The Silence of the Lambs.
Wow.
So Jodie Foster, Anthony Hopkins, Ted Levine. I mean, most
amazing.
Most people have seen this movie anyway. Certainly, if for some reason you're younger and maybe you never got around to seeing this movie, do yourself a favor and sit down and check it out here. But be prepared to feel uneasy for sure. I want to say Anthony Hopkins won Best Supporting Actor for this in the Oscars. Jodie Foster, I know, was at least up for an Academy Award. Here it is right here. So it won 5 Academy Awards. Here you go. Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Adapted Screenplay. So there you have it. So Hopkins and Jodie Foster won for this thing. So one of my favorite movies, thrillers of all time, for sure. It definitely made an impression. It's one of those movies to where you don't forget watching it. The Hannibal Lecter by Anthony Hopkins, just awesome, scary. You still see the death's head moth on things today. So it is a very, definitely made its impression upon pop culture for sure. So are you a fan of this movie, Keith? Have you seen it? What do you think about The Silence of the Lambs, or not your thing?
I have seen it so much I could quote probably every single line in it. It is one of my favorite all time. I think the movie is absolutely brilliant, and its effect to scare the crap out of you. I mean, what is we've seen the monsters and all. What is more important than more scary than another human being trying to eat you?
Yes,
I thought it was brilliant in capturing that fear. And it was done in the same vein of the old, Edgar Allan Poe movies and things like that. It didn't rely on gore to scare you. Just the thought, the concepts, you know what I mean? Jodie Foster was brilliant in it. There was a lot of great performances done in that movie. There were some brilliant things said. He had some of the greatest line. Of course, I ate his fava beans with some liver and a nice Chianti is probably the most famous line there. But it was something, man. That movie scared the out of me. And they tried to make some other ones that started relying more on the gore and stuff like that. So you can't beat that original. I think the movie was done brilliant. The mask was amazing. The mask scared you. To see him tied up was scary. He was tied up, on a dolly, if you will, and that mask was horrifying. One of my favorite actors, Scott Glenn, was in it. He was great. And the other villain, if you will, was brilliant. The guy,
Buffalo
Bill.
Yeah,
that performance was brilliant. And what he was trying to do was scary. Trying to turn into a woman. We got people actually doing it today through surgery and whatnot. And he was trying to do it through a suit of human skin. So the concepts were horrifying. And it was well done, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen some recent, even like TikTok videos and all that, where people they get the still photo of Buffalo Bill looking down in the hole, right? Yeah. It's that photo. And they hang it up in the ceiling, and then they have like a basket hanging down on a rope, like he's lowering the basket into. Pretty good stuff here. Yeah. I did that for Halloween one year, Keith, back in that era. So I had that same. I went as Hannibal Lecter one Halloween, so I had that mask. I had the straight jacket. I slicked my hair back, and then the woman I was dating at the time here dressed up like a nurse. And they put me on a dolly, so she was like kind of wheeling me around.
Dolly, I knew it.
Yeah, that was a fun time.
Wow, that was crazy, man.
Good stuff. Yeah, great movie. Yeah, I haven't seen it in years now. Then I'm talking about it now. I want to go back and watch it here
I watch it every
soon.
now and then. Pick up a little bit of something I didn't catch before, and it was just well done. It didn't have to have a bunch of just up in your face stuff to scare you,
Right.
Imagination had to work. You know, I ate his liver with some fava beans. What?
Yes.
He didn't just eat them, but he made a meal out of it. Had a side dish. I mean, it's crazy, man. Stop.
Just the scenes alone with Hopkins and Foster bantering.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
That's it. Yeah.
That was brilliant. That was utterly brilliant. Quid pro quo, baby.
That's right. Very good.
And he wanted a piece of her in return for information.
Yes.
Because that was his power. If you give me enough of you, I'll mess you up in here. You know, psychological brilliance. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Also on Valentine's Day in 2005. And again, when you hear about these social media apps launching, again, it feels like they've been around much, much longer, but it has not. 2005 was the debut of YouTube. So founded by Chad Hurley, Steve Chen, and Jawed Karim. Hope I'm pronouncing the names correctly. They were former employees of PayPal, and they launched it, but the first video was not uploaded until April 23rd. It was an 18-second video of me at the zoo. It featured one of the guys, Karim, at the San Diego Zoo, and can still be found on the website, and it has received, at this time, over 13,500,000 views. And by the July of 2006, so about a year later, it was receiving over 65,000 videos a day, and over 100 million videos were being reviewed each day. In 2011, YouTube stated that about 30% of all the videos posted made up about 99% of views on the site. So, just amazing. Now, as we mentioned, we're on YouTube. We put video episodes of this podcast and the Convincing Idiots podcast up on YouTube. We put the shorts and the everything. I think it's just amazing. I mean, it's the greatest invention on the internet, in my opinion, hands down. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about YouTube, prior to Keith. That just first of all, like schmoes like us are just doing this for fun to put this out there. And some people watch us, and we appreciate the hell out of that. And we appreciate that there's fans out there that if you find us remotely entertaining and give you a smile every so often or a thought, that is just amazing to us, and we appreciate that. And the thought of that for us is really something, and that's why we come back and do this. And we've mentioned, Keith, just the amount of educational videos on YouTube is astounding. When was the last time, Fish, you typed the subject in and it came back, we don't have anything on that? Never. I want to change a headlamp of a 2000 whatever vehicle. Somebody has a video and you can follow it. That's what I do. What I've learned has been immeasurable. Every time I find myself stuck, go to YouTube. How do I program this? How do I do that? How do I do this? I watched my son grow up and learn the piano from YouTube. Yeah. From YouTube. If you got a self-learning type of attitude, you can, man, I tell you what, buddy, there's just nothing that you cannot accomplish if you know how to work this thing called the internet. And YouTube is a huge, huge part of it, because my mom used to always say, show me something one time and I can do it. But there's a difference between hearing or reading how to do something, but being able to see it change the game. So you watch somebody walk through this thing or whatever it is you're trying to learn. Can't say enough about it. Yeah. It's certainly, like any social media, it has its share of dumb stuff and this and that. Okay, that's fine, But you're right. For the most part, that is one of the better social media sites as far as just the content, overall content that's there. Yeah. Like you say, just I want to make a roast. Yeah. There's, whatever. Like you say, you can find it. All the commercials permeated it, but somebody's got to pay the bills. I get it. Yep.
but still, it's still an incredible tool.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Entertainment too. You know,
sure,
entertainment, and we get to see things that we normally wouldn't get. One of my things I like to type in, so and so drum cam, where I watch a concert footage from some of my favorite artists, but it's just on the drummer.
Mm-hmm.
I used to have to watch stuff before and hope to get a glimpse of what the drummer was doing. Now I can watch nothing but the drummer. You know, every song, things like that, man. It's amazing.
Yeah. So kudos to those guys, man. Great invention, and it's like you say, just immeasurable education. It's astounding. Okay, and then in February 17th, 1972, the Volkswagen Beetle became the world's best-selling car. So it was on this day in 72, 15,007,034. They came off that number of vehicle came off the assembly line.
Yeah.
It was held for more than 40 years. Prior, it was held by more than 40 years by the Ford Motor Company iconic Model T.
Yeah.
So the Beetle made its way to U.S. shores in the 1950s. And then we might remember the old Disney movie in the late 60s, 1968, the year of our birth, Keith.
Yep.
Herbie the Love Bug came into theaters, and that just made that vehicle that much more popular with the vehicle, and then the beep beep and all this type of stuff. I remember my neighbor down the street. I grew up with Don Lawrence. He had neighbors. You might remember Sherry and and anyway.
I know.
Lived there for many, many years growing up here, and he had a red Volkswagen, and I thought that was the coolest thing. And he would drive me to school in it for a while, So, pulling up in the morning and hearing that little beep beep and coming out, I just thought that was so fun and exciting to be able to ride to school to Heminger Elementary in that Volkswagen Beetle for a long time here. So, yeah, he would honk that horn, go up and down the street all the time. So. And then obviously it made a resurgence, the more modern. I don't know that it's as much, if it's popular, that's so much these days, but certainly in the 70s, it was definitely very popular. So were you a fan of the Beetle? Was that something as a kid that you envisioned, man, when I grow up and get a car, maybe I get myself a Beetle at the time? What do you think about the Volkswagen Beetle?
I love the whole Herbie the Love Bug and all that stuff. But I don't think there's a car that I've hated more in my life than a Beetle. I hate that car.
Why?
Oh, I don't know. It's just looks like a half circle and little tires. I thought it was cool with the whole trunk in the front, motor in the back. All that was cool. I just never liked it. It was just weak to me, and I don't think there's a vehicle in history that has such a cult following in TV and movies more than the Beetle or the VW wagon. The van.
Yep. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I don't know. People just thought they were cool because they had one, and I just never liked it. I don't know why. I just never liked it. I just thought it was weak, and then maybe that's what it was about it. I didn't like little tires. I didn't like that engine being like a sputting. I don't know. Maybe that's it. But they're iconic. They're iconic in movies and television shows. So give it its props for that.
All right. Very good. Yeah, those movies too. I used to love those movies, the Herbie movies.
Yeah,
had a couple of them back in its time.
Fun,
yeah. All right. Well, that brings us, sir. We've explored many things on this episode. Do you have any announcements, sir, before we wrap up our 99th episode, sir?
No. By the time this show is aired, the show will be over. I will be playing at Roma's Pizzeria in Mogador on the 18th with Mixed Nuts. Looking forward to that night. We've been working very, very hard. Other than that, that's about it. I've got some great stuff coming up. Don't want to say anything about it until I'm allowed, I guess. So but that's some great stuff coming up. So stay tuned.
Very good. We'll post some reminders of the show on social media.
Yeah, for
before
sure.
the weekend. Yeah. Okay. Well, as I mentioned before, find me also on the Convincing Idiots podcast with Dean and Nick. Pop culture and nerdy fun every week. We can also be found on podcast platforms, YouTube at Convincing Idiots. Also, the Boss Code Media TV network, where we listen to podcasts. So, the Skinner is not here.
No, he is not.
No. We are the guys from GenX. We appreciate your listening eyes and watchful ears. And join us soon for our 100th episode. I know I messed it up on purpose. I'm just teasing. We'll give you some details on our 100th episode. We hope to have. We're trying to get Nick Cage, Keith.
Yes, we've sent some letters.
Yeah,
some emails. He hasn't gotten back to us.
Hasn't responded yet.
Anna, she wants to come and answer some of the accusations leveled at her. But
that's right.
We'll see.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, you never know. Maybe they'll be here. Maybe they won't be here.
Maybe they won't.
But we will all three be here. So we thank you. We thank you for your support. Do episodes weekly. Find us out there on social media. Find us on YouTube. Find us on the Boss Code Media TV network. And looking forward to our 100th episode.
100, baby.
That's right. So
we're calling it the Wilt Chamberlain Show.
That's right. That's right. So thanks for your support and stay strong, GenX.
Peace out, man.